What's the purpose behind the marketing plan? You excite, you educate, experience, and engage. Let's do this, right? Let's do this and let's have fun with it too. To my first-time listeners, thank you for joining the show. I appreciate you being here. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Marketing with In-Dub Podcast, where I'm your host, Nathan Webster, and I'm excited to chop it up with you today. Today, for episode 204, let's talk about homie hookups. You may say, homie hookups? What are you talking about, homie hookups? Well, it's a saying that we have here in certain communities. In my community, I'll call it a homie hookup. You may call it a discount. You may call it a price reduction. But it is a core essential when it comes to the 4 P's of marketing. When we are talking about, seriously, your strategy of how you do cost and pricing together for your sales and marketing strategy. But before we get into that, hey, to my first time listeners, thank you once again that's my first time listeners. Thank you for joining the show. I was so ready to thank my worldwide recurring customers, listeners, sharers, loyalists, but for my first time listeners, thank you for joining the show today. Hopefully you like everything you hear, everything you see. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the shows and check out the next events that we have coming up, which leads me to my ongoing supporters from all over the world. Thank you for all that you do and supporting me and continuing to rock with me, especially from the last episode you saw in our Let's Connect conference testimonial. Look, I have a couple more that I'm going to put out, but our Let's Connect conference is in the first Thursday and Friday of October 2024. And I'm sorry, I need to stop bumping the mic. So when it comes to what you should expect for this year, our theme is called Build Your Brand. And I wanted to get into that today, a little bit about how you do that, because when we talk about branding, it's not selling. When you are selling, you're not branding. And then when you are strategizing, you should not be working in your business, you're working on the business. And when it comes to your marketing and sales strategy, they are married, they are separate, but they're together, they're one. It should not be a disconnect when it comes to you understanding what's going to be the right and the best thing for you. So this is the first part. I'm going to talk about these homie hookups, and I'm going to go into the next week's podcast to talk to you a little bit more about when you do this homie hookup, working on your business, this is how it affects you working in your business, okay? Homie hookups is something you create because you're working on, but in your business. But then I'm going to really talk to you about how it impacts you in your business. All right. So with that being said, homie hookups. And look, as you can tell, for those that are going to listen to this, I'm going to keep it short, do my best to keep it under 10 minutes. We'll see how it goes. All right. Let's get into this, y'all. A homie hookup is something that I got into because the goal when you start your business, when you start grinding, hustling, you have this value proposition you need to put out there. You do a homie hookup because the people that you are networking, interacting, engaging, and have access to either cannot afford your services or you haven't proved yourself to where you are the expert in this area and you are a viable option, okay? So you give a homie hookup as a discount or a freebie, as a freemium to say, if you use my stuff, the quid pro quo, I'll do XYZ for you, okay? So I started doing homie hookups starting with, say, social media, websites. I took on a lot of the cost where I made the cost where basically they paid me cost. They just paid me for like the supplies, right? And so when it comes to a website, it is extremely hard doing a website when you're not making any money because you can spend literally 20, 30, 40 hours and the work is far from being done. A website is like a never-ending project because there's always something to do. There's always something more to explain. There's always something more to enhance it. So when I was giving homie hookups, I think the least amount I charged somebody was $500. That is the bare minimum to get in, even for my hosting plan right now. I wouldn't do, like, as a shark say on Shark Tank, you couldn't get me out of bed for a deal like that. Now, let me explain to you how that is going to be working on your business, and why I will go in the next podcast how that entails or impacts working in your business. So when you come up with your value proposition, that service or that product that you're working on, remember the 4 P's of marketing is product, and we can also say service. Okay, product is a tangible item, service is an intangible item. Then you go into price. Okay, now there's, depending on who you talk to and what you look at, there's more P's to the 4 P's of marketing, or the P's of marketing, right? There's 6 or 7, just like there's C's. But as I digress, the second P is price. Now, what gets missed on there, price is for the consumer. Not anywhere in there until you get into promotion, and the promotion is more external facing, but you don't really go into dissecting it as a business, because if you don't have the experience running a business or being involved in a business, from the cogs to the customers, from the farm to the table, so to speak, you don't understand that you need some margin. But even if you did work those big companies, they have other capital to pull from. So when you are working on your business, creating this sales strategy to the marketing strategy, one of the biggest epic failures business owners make, and leaders that I have to help with, is understand that you created a price point that you can't afford to maintain, sustain your business of operations doing that 1 or 2 things that you love to do. So you have to do a homie hookup. And this is what the homie hookup looks like. I got me a chip, right? Just a homie hookup. You're like, man, that's loud. I don't like your smacking. Yeah. This is exactly what happens in your business. You create a whole bunch of noise and problems that right now, like for me, that was a good chip. But for you on the outside, it wasn't really professional. Now, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because look, we're back to me talking, you're listening, you're good. It doesn't hurt that bad. But if I kept doing it right, eventually you're going to tune out. So when you're working on your business, you have to think of not only the immediate, we say, what is the short and long term? But let me tell you, you as a business owner have to consider the marketing and sales strategy that will be immediate. Like, what is the immediate cost? If you run a product that needs inventory, you have to pay for that inventory before you even sell one thing, which is why pre-sales is a big deal. Kickstarter has that type of program. If you're running a service, that is hours. You have to do man hours or woman hours, however you want to say it, but that's labor you have to pay for that you may not have right now, but you got to pay it, right? So when it comes to working on your business, you have to set up the right price point. That second P, once you understand what your product is or what your service is, create the right price point so that the cost of the service or the product always gets met, and the cost of your labor always gets met. Those are the 2 things that should be non-negotiables, but we negotiate with them because we rather get that feeling, that adrenaline, that dopamine rush of, yes, I got a customer. Yes, I got a sale. But at what cost? You hear that? The cost. And here's where the cost I'm going to talk about in the next podcast of how that impacts your business. And I'll tell you how it impacted me and my business. But when it comes to the price and the cost should not be the same. Now, what should that price and what should that cost look like? Well, that's going to be really up to you and how you choose to run your business. Now, how do you choose to run your business? It's going to be up to you. But margins, depending on which industry you're in, you may not have a lot to work with, right? Food is absolutely, oh my God, like the worst, because there's not high margin in food. So There isn't a cookie cutter approach. If you need some help, feel free to reach out to me. But if it's not me, go find somebody else, okay? Marketing is tough. It is never ending. It is never forgiving, okay? So go get some help. Go find someone. And until then, you heard it first. To my first time, to my regulars, please, if you haven't done so already, please go leave a review on iTunes so we can scale and grow, so we can continue to help those entrepreneurs, freelancers, and small business go to the next level. So until next time, I wish you nothing but the best. So dream big and Godspeed. I'm out. What's the purpose behind the marketing plan? You excite, you educate, experience, and engage. Let's do this, right? Let's do this and let's have fun with it too. To my first time listeners, thank you for joining the show. I appreciate you being here.